wrestling?
Yeah, no, we're all wrestlers. We're all bros and sisters at the end of the day, and we're there to entertain and tell a good story in that ring.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I just didn't. I didn't know how, thing that you said there's not really a difference. So I was like, I just didn't know
Yeah,
how it felt to you or not. So that's cool.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah, and of the major shows, the only one that really kind of is okay with pushing that boundary has been mainly Impact, with
Yeah.
Tessa
Yeah.
Blanchard beating Sammy Callahan. So
Yeah, the Impact definitely. You see a little sprinkle of it, not so much anymore. They were sprinkling a little bit of it with like Becky Lynch beating up a lot of guys and like the
Mhm.
Ronda Rousey thing with Triple H in
Kurt Angle.
WWE, but you don't see that much really. I don't but it'll come and go here and there for that shock value.
That's interesting. I just never really thought I'd mean about the same thing. At least as much as, or at least being more consistent out there. Interesting. So, and the promoters don't have any problems with that, huh? I mean, usually.
Not back in the day. You really didn't see it that much. Not so much really anymore. You see, it's more definitely common in this area, and even up in like the West Coast, you don't you see it a lot more.
Okay.
And in the New England area too, I started like around like Beyond Wrestling and stuff, Limited Wrestling. You'll see more intergender matches.
Yeah.
You'll see more. Man, you see a lot more women's matches on shows. Back when I started, you barely saw women's match on a card. Now you'll see it's normal.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
normal to have at least 2 women's matches a show now.
Absolutely, and that's good to see the business evolve to more you can showcase more of the females. Absolutely.
Yeah, big time.
Me too, absolutely. So, I seen your gimmick being was the can of whipped cream.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, that's something that's you never really see.
Yeah.
Kind of what bring some whipped cream down there to put in your fans' mouths.
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with that one?
Well, I'm the king of cream, and then
Yeah.
So I mean,
wow.
I just pretty much I like you guys were saying that intergender wrestling, you're sizzling is different. I strive to be different, and I go out. I always say this. I always say to my friends, like, and younger wrestlers, like, I want to be a wrestler no one ever seen before. Like, I want to be completely different. I don't want to be cookie cutter. I want like them to go home and be like, I saw this guy and he put whipped cream in like people's mouths and it was crazy. It was funny. Like, oh, he ripped his pants. He had 3 pants. And like he ripped them off. He had a shake weight. Like, it's just something you never would see before.
Yeah.
And
I just
want to be different from anybody else. And the cream, I don't know. I just pretty much said, I don't know if someone told me to use whipped cream. I really think I was like, yeah, would it be funny like just to use whipped cream? Because who wouldn't like whipped cream? Like, who doesn't laugh like when somebody puts whipped cream in the face, like a pie in the face? Like, it's just funny. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna do that, and it just kept on evolving. And I'm like, I just came up with more ideas. I'm like, hey, this became. Then people start calling me the king of cream.
That's a nickname.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a nickname and half. No, that's it's cool to be a little different. Obviously, that's and you gotta be different. Of course, that's cool. But you found a different knack to it to where and ball's food and you can feed your fans a little bit there.
Yeah. I really don't put the whipped cream in the mouths anymore because of COVID. But I'll usually pass the shake weight around sometimes. They'll shake it or. When stuff gets better, because the fans love that whipped cream.
Yeah.
And I used to just have 1 can of whipped cream. Now I usually come out with 2 or more because, like, by the time I, go around the ring and fans want whipped cream, it's like, man, that can's almost done. So I'm like, I need it for my opponent. So I always bring extra now.
So you mentioned Joey Styles and the announcing. What inspired you to get into wrestling?
Just watch. I literally would watch as a kid, and I saw Shawn Michaels, and I was like, yeah, I want to be like this guy. Like, this guy's awesome. Like, I want to be a pro wrestler, be like him, and others, of course, like Hogan, Lex Luger. Like, I really flocked as a young kid to those. Undertaker too. The larger than life characters. I was really like, oh man, I want to be like that.
That was gonna be my question. If there was any like one person you're like, oh, okay, this is someone I want to try to send myself to, because I'll be frank, as a kid, when I one of the people that I kind of idolized and had thought about becoming a pro wrestler, and the reason behind it was actually Chris Jericho.
Oh, of course, yeah. Oh, yeah, me too.
And it was just more or less because I ended up being 6 foot. I'm about his height, and he was one of those guys that's aerial but also did submissions, and that's one of the things I kind of was a fan of.
Yeah.
Now, finishing move wise, what would you say is your finishing move?
Oh, the whipped cream stunner, because I'm the king of cream. That's right.
Now is that like a legit stunner or?
Yeah, I pretty much put the whipped cream in my opponent's mouth, give him the kick to the gut, hit him boom with the stunner, even stronger than a regular stunner. Nobody else has a whipped cream stunner, and that always gets me to 1, 2, 3.
So now
I've seen that actually once. Well, obviously from you. It's
now there's a follow up to this. Have you tried out with other shows? Because I don't know how this hasn't landed on, based on everything you're telling me about your gimmick, how this hasn't landed on like Impact or WWE yet.
Yeah, that's what
it's crazy. You know what? Honestly, social media, man, like they always change the algorithm, but I always thought that, and a lot of fans have told me this, and other wrestlers told me, like, I'm surprised like Japan hasn't seen this, because they feel like that Stan Stylez in Japan with the gimmick would be super crazy. And I've talked to other wrestlers in like Korea and stuff, and they said, yo, you would be like God in Japan. Like, they would go crazy with this. And that's my end game. I would love to wrestle in Japan one day. And of course, Impact, WWE, I don't know. I kind of painted my own different picture. I don't know what, of course, yeah, but I don't feel that, right. I mean, if they let me do the gimmick, I don't know if the gimmick would be what Vince wants in his eyes, but like Impact AEW, oh, hell yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, I guess a fantasy match would be like you against Orange Cassidy, honestly.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, a lot of people said that. Yeah, make a creamsicle, orange creamsicle.
Yeah, just all I can imagine is him having the hands in his pockets and you do the whipped cream into the stunner.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's just, he was one. Funny you say Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, I would love to wrestle. Like, that's a dream. Jericho's just so, you said he's aerial and he has submissions, but he's so damn entertaining. He just knows it. And I feel like he would just see myself like, oh my God, and it would just be so much fun.
Oh, actually, I just thought of another good feud for you, and this is another AEW guy. You against MJF, because I'm sure MJF will love the whipped cream thing.
I actually did wrestle MJF before in the Indies.
Really?
And it was awesome. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
How did that go?
It was awesome. Yeah, we wrestled. It was called Fiesta Pro Wrestling. Yeah, it was really cool. He's a really good heel, and it's funny because he's like, man, I haven't wrestled anyone more jacked than me in a long time. Well, because he's so young,
right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I would definitely like to wrestle MJF again.
Well, all I can picture is his character, because I know him mainly from AEW, and he just has that very proper kind of throwback to Ric Flair character, and I don't see that the character dynamic between you with the whipped cream and him with his character. It would be so different.
Yeah, that's I do love wrestling characters that are the complete polar opposite of me, because it gets fans thinking like, what's going to happen. Like when I wrestled Su Yung, people are like, oh my God, it's like a comedy movie versus a horror movie. And I can't wait to see this play. I'm like, exactly. He puts butt in seats.
Now with your build, did you play sports prior to getting into wrestling?
No, I did not. I was pretty much a nerd in high school. Like I definitely like to lift weights. That was always my big thing, especially like my junior to senior year of high school. Like, I really started to lift weights and put on some muscle, and like just always be in really good shape. Cause when I was a kid, all the wrestlers, like you said, like Rick Rude and Lex Luger, Hogan, Ultimate, where they all had really big muscles. They're all jacked up, and I'm like, I want to be jacked like those guys. I want to look like, a wrestler when I get there, because I'm not the tallest guy. So I was like, I want to definitely have a really good build. So I started to really just lift weights and just, push up stuff at the house. And before I really got into the gym just to really start to like probe my body, get my body into like shape. But yeah, then it just really just got me into bodybuilding and stuff. So I never really was into any kind of sports. I did wanted to do amateur wrestling in my high school, but they didn't have it. And it's funny because when I graduated, they started to have it the year after I graduated. So I'm like, I missed out.
Oh dang! Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was in high school with being a wrestler. I did for a year, and it was interesting too. And I was told when I got into it, was like, oh, I'll help you out with your football playing too. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun for was that time period. How old
Yeah.
are you, if you don't mind?
I usually never say it. But
I'm sorry. Oh, didn't
cool.
know.
I always let people just pretty much guess what age I am, or I'll say Stan Stylez doesn't identify with an age.
It's all good.
Whatever you think I am.
Well, for how long you've been in wrestling, you have to be in the lower 20s or upper 20s, lower 30s.
20s. We can go with that.
Yeah. Now you said you're a nerd. What kind of stuff were you into?
Oh man, I still am, because big into art. I always liked painting and drawing. Don't do it nowhere near as much as I did in high school. Maybe not even at all. But wrestling is a huge art form. To me, it's performance art. It's theater. So that's pretty much my art now. But yeah, I was really big into art, really big into anime. Still am, and music, and going to concerts, and that pretty much what my life. I was a huge mall rat with a lot of my mall rat friends when I was a teenager. But yeah, always wanted to be a pro wrestler. It was always the goal.
Okay, so there's a couple follow-up. I'm not huge into anime, but my girl is, so I'm familiar with some of the names. What kind of stuff do you watch?
So much. Let me see.
Then that means you have to have a Funimation or Crunchyroll subscription because you said so much.
I did. But I usually get that. I renew it when like new stuff comes out. But big into Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, all the Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, One Punch Man, My Hero Academia.
Okay.
I was just watching one. I don't know how to say it, but it was called it's pretty much called translated as Crazy Gamble. Like a gambling anime. What else did I just recently watched? Bleach, Inuyasha, Case Closed. What was I watching? Something with my girlfriend. We were watching Haikyuu. That was another one, like volleyball or something. It's crazy. There's like anime about everything else. Oh, Baki the Grappler. That was another one I used to watch. Trigun. Yeah, Trigun. Outlaw Star. Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Name a few.
I'm actually surprised I didn't hear Death Note in there.
Death Note, yes. Oh, yeah. Definitely one of my top. That's crazy. That's usually one of my top 10. There. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, Death Note's amazing.
And to give you an idea how big of a fan she is, there's a corner of the room that's all Sailor Moon.
Oh, hell yeah. Sailor Moon, of course. Yeah, that's classic.
The other follow-up is music. What's your music taste?
Oh, man. It's a heavy metal. Anything, the heavier the better. Like, and a lot of people are so shocked by that. But
you have to name bands. You have to name bands for me to understand how heavy you mean.
Oh, so big. I'll just say this: like, I was big into the new metal scene, like Slipknot, Korn, Mudvayne. But then I got into like Slayer. Then I started listening to more like the death metal bands and black metal bands, like in Europe, like was it In Flames, Arch Enemy, Dimmu Borgir, Cradle of Filth, all those bands.
Cradle of Filth, I could not get into. I could not get into Cradle of Filth.
Danny Filth has a unique sound about him, but yeah.
Yeah. I started like with Metallica, then I graduated into Slipknot and Mudvayne. Some of the people you mentioned. I actually didn't mind Hatebreed. Some of my friends were into Crossbreed, couldn't do that.
Crossbreed, yes. That's funny. One of my fans, my friend, he said the same thing. He's like, "Yo, you ever listen to Crossbreed?" I'm like, "Yeah," and like they never really were big, but like they had that cult following. There was a lot of those new metal bands that are like the main ones, like you were saying, Slipknot, Korn, Mudvayne. They were big, and like they had a lot of little. Yeah, I was just listening to Seven Dust today.
No, nice.
Yeah,
what's your thinking on Killswitch Engage?
I like Killswitch Engage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another band, this one I kind of got into more recently, is Falling in Reverse. I don't know how you feel about them.
I never heard of them. I have to take a listen.
They're it's a weird conglomerate of rock and rap mixed into each other, kind of like new metal with a little bit of screaming here and there. It's a weird mix. It's a weird